Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we got a pre-recorded video here talking about the Pacific Division. We're going to go through my standings and predictions as of right now, and we're going to look at how I see the Pacific Division shaping up this year. We'll get to all of that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Indian Hockey Channel. Before we get into this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you very much for support. We're now to without you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below and don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below so we can all discuss today's video. Now, in today's video, we're looking at Pacific Division. Now, we're going to do a quick preview here of all the divisions. We're doing the Pacific Division here. In these videos, we're going to take a quick look at my predictions from last year before the season started and see how close I did to how the standings shaped up last year. And I'm going to go through each team and see really quickly how I did in the offseason and my prediction going into this upcoming season. So we're going to start here in the Pacific Division. So last year, I'll put a picture up here of what my preseason predictions were for the standings for last year. So just to recap here, I'll tell you over here. I had the Edmonton Oilers winning the division with 113 points, Vegas second with 108 points, Seattle third with 102 points, LA fourth with 100 points, Vancouver fifth with 93 points, Calgary sixth with 88 points, Anaheim seventh with 66 points, and San Jose fourth with 61 points. That was my preseason predictions for the standings for last season for the Pacific Division. Now, I'll consider it a win if I got the standings placement within 1 point. So if I predicted a team to go fourth and they were either third or fifth, I would consider that a win. I also consider that a win if I was within 4 points. So if I predicted a team to get 100 points and they got between 104 and 96, I would also consider that a win. So just really quickly recap what I did last year. So last year I predicted Edmonton to win the division with 113 points. By season's end, Edmonton was second in the division with 104 points. So I was 9 points lower than I thought they were last year. So I was a little bit on the low end side of the point total. But I did predict them to get first. They got second, so I wasn't too far off of that. So that was good for me. Secondly, I predicted the Golden Knights to be second with 108 points. I thought that was a pretty good point total for the Vegas Golden Knights. They wound up finishing fourth in the Pacific Division in a wildcard position with 98 points. So I was 10 off of them, and they did finish fourth in the Pacific Division, not second. So I was definitely off on that one. I predicted Seattle to get third. That was a little bit of a stretch in my opinion at that point in time, and it did wind up being a stretch. They finished sixth in the Pacific Division with 81 points. So I was 21 points off of their point total from last year. So I was definitely way off on the Seattle Kraken. I predicted the LA Kings to be fourth and make the playoffs with 100 points. I was not too far off on them. They actually got 99 points. So I was only 1 point off of the Kings. Instead of finishing fourth, I finished third. So I would consider that a win. I got pretty close to predicting exactly the point total and exactly the position for the LA Kings. So I gotta consider that a win. For the Vancouver Canucks, I predicted them to make the playoffs, which was a little bit of a surprise for a lot of people, with 93 points. So I did have them making the playoffs, but I don't think anyone could have predicted how good of a season they would have last year. Finished last year first in the Pacific with 109 points. So I was 16 points off of that, and I was like 4 positions off of that. So I would consider that a loss. I did not predict the Canucks to win the Pacific. At 6 overall, I had the Calgary Flames. I had them finishing with 88 points. I was not too far off of them. They finished 5th, not 6th in the Pacific Division, so I'll consider that a win. But it was 7 points off of their point total. They finished 7 points lower than I originally predicted, so I would consider that a loss. The Ducks did finish 7th in the Pacific Division like I originally expected them to do, so I would consider that a win. But they finished with 59 points. I predicted them to have 66. They finished 7 points lower than I thought, so I was a little bit off on that. And then San Jose Sharks did finish 8th in the Pacific, which is what I thought they would be in the preseason. But I expected them to finish with 61 points, not 47. So they were 14 points lower than I originally thought. So all in all, I don't think I did too bad last year. I mean, I was only 1 position off of the Oilers, the Kings, the Flames, and then I got the Ducks and the Sharks positions right in the Pacific. So I wasn't too bad on the positions, but point-wise, the only team I was actually really close on was the LA Kings, so I was only 1 point off. So definitely didn't do overly good in my Pacific Division predictions last year. So let's go over to my predictions for this year. So we're going to start with last year's division winner in the Pacific Division. That was the Canucks. They finished with 109 points last year. This offseason, we've talked about it. We did our season preview series videos over the Pacific Division over the past couple of weeks. Canucks, fantastic offseason. Wound up making some interesting moves. Add guys like DeBrusk, Desharnais, Forbert. Defensively, a little bit weaker after the loss of Zadorov, but offensively, maybe a little bit stronger. They moved Paul Colson for a 4th round pick. Had to move on from Mikheyev. So made a lot of interesting moves this offseason. So like I said in my previous videos when I talked about the Canucks in the season preview series, I think they did good. I think they're going to do good this year. I think they're going to take a step back, but I still think they're going to be a playoff team. So my last prediction here for the Vancouver Canucks for the Pacific Division. Third in the Pacific Division with 43 wins, 26 losses, 13 OT losses for 99 points. That's my current prediction for the Canucks. 10 points lower than last year. I do have them taking a step back, but I think this Canucks team is going to do really well. So I have the Canucks finishing with 99 points this year. Second was the Edmonton Oilers. They finished last year with 104 points. Got a lot better this year. Add Jeff Skinner, add Vic Arvidsson, they add Ty Emberson, add Vasily Podkolzin, lose guys like Broberg and Holloway in free agency, lose CC in a trade, do lose a couple of other things. So they did all right this year, but the defense is a little bit weaker. Their offense is a little bit better in my opinion. So all in all, I think they had a really good offseason. So I'm going to give the Oilers the division crown right now. I did last year. Hopefully I'm right this year. I'm going to say they finished with a record of 52, 22, and 8 for 112 points. That's plus 8 higher than last year, and that does put them in my predictions as a division winner. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on if you think Edmonton's the division winner. Going over to the LA Kings, last year, like we just said, finished with 99 points. First round exit against those Edmonton Oilers, did not do overly well. So they're going to be looking for a little bit of a better season this year. I don't have them doing that. I have them finishing 5th in the Pacific, out of a playoff spot with 92 points, 7 lower than last year. So at this point in time, I think the Kings had a pretty good offseason. I think they did really good in the Dubois deal. They add Kemper, who I think is an upgrade on Talbot. They lose Matt Roy, bring in Joel Edmondson, which is I think a downgrade. Bring in Fogle, lose Arvidsson, which I think is also a little bit of a downgrade, but still they look pretty lethal. They still have a lot of young pieces. Wouldn't be surprised if they did make the playoffs, and I was wrong about this one thing here, but I have them missing the playoffs with 92 points, 7 lower than last year. So that's my prediction on the Kings. Going on to 4th in Pacific Division from last year, and that was the Vegas Golden Knights. Last year was the year where they started well, had a lot of injuries, finished in the second wildcard position at 98 points. Were a really good team. So this year they're going to have a lot of healthy bodies. Did lose Marchessault in the offseason, did lose Stevenson, they did lose Alec Martinez, they wound up moving on from Logan Thompson, add a couple of decent younger players like Alex Holtz, Vic Olofsson. They also add a guy like Robert Haig on the defensive end. They add Akira Schmid. But I think underrated things that a lot of people aren't talking about is they're going to have full seasons of Thomas Hertl and Noah Hannafin, which I think is going to be really good for this Golden Knights team. So I'm going to have the Golden Knights finishing with a 48, 25, and 9 record for 105 points, 7 higher than last year. So I do have them taking a step forward. I think the Knights did quite well this offseason, even though they lost Marchessault, even though they lost Stevenson. I still think the additions of Hertl and Hannafin at the deadline are going to help them this year. And I think some of those younger guys like a Brisson or a Holtz or Olofsson are going to help them step up in the top 9. So we're going to have to wait and see, but I have the Vegas Golden Knights being second in the Pacific Division this year. Going over to the 5th team from the Pacific Division last year, and that was the Calgary Flames. Last year was not an overly great season to remember. Finished with 81 points, tied with the Kraken for 5th in the Pacific Division, way out of a playoff spot. Was not an overly great season there from the Calgary Flames. Something they probably want to forget. They made some interesting moves this offseason. They added a guy like Anthony Mantha. They add Jake Bean, Kevin Ball. So they make some interesting moves. They move on from Andrew Mangiapane, Jacob Markstrom, Doman Bragg, Oliver Shillington, Dylan Dubé's gone. So some interesting moves there from the Flames, but this team's going to be a lot worse than it was last year after all these moves, and quite potentially could get worse in the season. So my current prediction as of right now is the Calgary Flames finish with a record of 29, 41, and 12 for 70 points, minus 11 lower than last year. So I have them taking a little bit of a step back. I have them being a bottom 3 team in the league, and I have them having a really high draft pick this upcoming season. So that's my current projections on the Calgary Flames. Going over to the 6th ranked team from last year in the Pacific Division, and that is the Seattle Kraken. Last year, like we said, not overly great, tied with Calgary for 5th in the Pacific Division, 81 points, way bigger of a step back than what I was expecting them to do, and they missed the playoffs after winning a round the year prior. So that was a really bad blow there for the Kraken, but they add Stevenson this offseason, add Brandon Montour. They lose a couple of players like Brian Dumoulin and a couple of other lower end guys. They make some interesting moves, but I think they definitely got a lot better this year. So in my opinion, I think this Kraken team is going to be poised for a little bit of a step forward. I had them finishing with a record of 44, 30, and 8 for 96 points, and my predictions, I put them 4th in the Pacific Division, 15 points higher than last year, and in a wildcard spot. So I have the Seattle Kraken doing a lot better than last year, and I think they're going to take a really good step forward. So that's where I have the Seattle Kraken right now. At 7th overall, last year was the Anaheim Ducks, 59 points, really bad season there from the Ducks. Had a couple of players take some strides last year, like Vetrano, Carlson, Terry, but all in all, there was a really bad season there from the Ducks last year. Went out this offseason, we're hoping to get a whole bunch better, trying to add top 6 forwards, top 4 defensemen. It's not that they tried to get some of the top free agents, predictions. Weren't able to convince any of them, so they wind up getting the best opportunities they can. Go in the free agent market, add Robbie Fabry, add Brian Dumoulin. They also add a guy like Jansen Harkins, lose some other guys like Silverberg to retirement, lose Max Jones. So they made some interesting moves. They made some interesting additions, not the big ones that they were hoping for. So in my opinion, I'm going to say the Ducks are going to still be a lower end team this year, but they're going to take a little bit of a step forward. I have them finishing with a record of 35, 42, and 5, 75 points, 16 higher than last year, and then move up a spot in the Pacific Division and finish 6th in the Pacific Division this year. So that's my prediction on the Ducks. I think they're going to have a pretty good season, and I would not be overly surprised if this team was a pretty good team this upcoming season. And lastly, we have the San Jose Sharks, one of the worst seasons we've seen to date last year, finishing with 47 points. Couldn't reach the 20-win mark, couldn't reach the 50-point plateau. A really bad season there for them. This year was just a matter of them trying to improve some of their depth and insulate some of their young players. Add Tyler Toffoli, add Alex Wenberg. On the forward group, they also add Carl Grunstrom and Ty Dellandrea via the trade market. Add Cody Ceci. They wanted moving on from Toei Emberson, also from Hoffman, LeBanc, Barabanov, who weren't overly great forwards last year, so they made some interesting moves. Add Macklin Celebrini with the first overall pick. He should be a fantastic rookie this upcoming season. Also still have Will Smith, who's probably going to be a really good player this year for the Sharks. So all in all, they have some really good players, have some really good youth upcoming for the San Jose Sharks. Also trade for Yaroslav Askarov. So I liked what the Sharks have done this year. I think they will take a step forward. We really can't take a step back from having that bad of a season. I have them still being way out of a playoff spot, but I do have them being a little bit better. Record of 27, 47, and 8 for 62 points, 15 higher than last year. So it's 15 higher than last year, but still in the low 60s, which I think is going to be a long rebuild for the San Jose Sharks. But I think they will take a step forward this year. So just to recap, I'll put a picture of the screen on here. I have the Edmonton Oilers winning the division with 112 points. I have the Golden Knights being second in the division with 105 points. I have the Vancouver Canucks being third in the division with 99 points. I have the Seattle Kraken being fourth in the division with 96 points and a wildcard spot. I have the LA Kings being fifth in the division with 92 points. I have the Anaheim Ducks being sixth in the division with 75 points. I have the Calgary Flames being seventh in the division with 70 points. And I have the San Jose Sharks being eighth in the division with 62 points. So that's my prediction for the Pacific Division right now going into the start of the season. So definitely have your thoughts on all this down in the comment section below. What do you think about the Pacific Division? Do you agree with any of my takes on the Pacific Division right now? Do you disagree with any of my takes? Do you think I put someone too high, put someone too low? And what do you think about my predictions from last year? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk for today. Until this video, if you're listening, subscribe down below. Thank you for your support. We know to thought of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't leave a comment down in the comment section below. So it's going to also discuss today's video. Also a blog, talking about newsrooms, analysis, stuff like that. So I'm going to check that out. Leave a link in the description below. And I can't wait to see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.